Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this really fascinating tension between what the government actually reveals to us and what they might be burying. We're looking at a crazy cross-section of recent events, and they all orbit one central theme. And that's transparency. I mean, are we getting the full picture here, or just the parts that someone specifically wants us to see?
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. Number 1, the DNC election autopsy. Number 2, missing officials and shadow factions. Number 3, interdimensional entities and orbs. And finally, number 4, the energy industry threat.
Section 1, the DNC election autopsy, a controversial release. So, to really set the stage on this whole transparency theme, let's look at the incredibly bizarre nature of this recent 200-page release. Look, you don't often see the head of a major political organization dump a massive autopsy of an election loss and then, in the exact same breath, completely disavow it. But the DNC chair openly admitted this document was just not ready for prime time. He called the whole situation an attempt to prevent an even bigger distraction. So what we get is this raw, unedited look at total political scrambling. Right, so when we actually dig into this thing, well, what's missing is kind of mind-blowing. Think about your own day-to-day concerns. The report seemingly completely ignores the critical everyday issues for voters, things like inflation and gas prices, not there. Instead, it totally pivots to these broad strategic missteps. It blames campaign operations and suggests this massive shift away from identity politics, back toward middle-class appeal. It's an attempt at transparency, sure, but critics are arguing it just completely misses the practical reality of the election. Now, to put the sheer political stakes into perspective, while they were debating these internal missteps, the combined Republican war chest was creeping up to a staggering $900 million. That's almost $1 billion. In the high-stakes game of political power, knowing your own weaknesses is absolutely just as crucial as knowing your opponent's bankroll. Well, this brings us to a really fascinating pivot. Because if a massive political party struggles to release an honest 200-page report about an election, how on earth does the broader government handle truly world-altering secrets? I mean, recent Department of Defense document dumps on UFOs, or UAPs as they call them now, have literally racked up over 1 billion views. But you have to ask yourself, are these drops genuine transparency, or are they just calculated distractions meant to keep us busy? Moving on to Section 2, missing officials and shadow factions, the fight over disclosure. Investigative commentator Jessica Reed Krause points out that there is actually a massive, hidden conflict raging right now deep within the government over these secrets. On one side, you have a faction pushing for what's called controlled disclosure, basically a slow, carefully managed drip of information. But on the other side, they are terrified of catastrophic disclosure. That's the uncontrolled, abrupt release of world-altering technology. We're talking about information that could upend the entire global power structure literally overnight. To really grasp the stakes of this alleged hidden war, just consider this chilling string of recent tragedies. We have an MIT physicist and a Caltech astrophysicist. Both of them specialized in highly advanced areas like free energy, and both were fatally shot. And then you have Air Force General Neil McCassland. He allegedly had access to the most sensitive national security issues, and he simply vanished. The eerie silence from the media about a literally missing military general has led a lot of people to theorize that these events are directly tied to that battle over catastrophic disclosure. All right, Section 3, interdimensional entities and orbs, exploring the fringe theories. So, if highly cleared people are allegedly disappearing over this stuff, what exactly are they hiding? Author Ken Heckenlevy maps out the history here, and he argues that military intelligence has been quietly tracking these anomalies for nearly 80 years. You know, a lot of people think this is a new phenomenon because everyone has a smartphone now. Actually, scratch that, it goes way further back. From the heavily documented sightings in 1947, right up to the famous 2003 Tic Tac incident and today's congressional whistleblower hearings. This is a massive, sprawling timeline of top-level military tracking. And Heckenlively really grounds this conversation in primary documents. Just take the 1947 Twining Memo, which was penned by the head of Air Force Intelligence. He blatantly states that these objects are real, they're evasive, and they pull off extreme maneuvers. When you have the absolute top brass confirming this in writing almost 8 decades ago, it really forces you to ask, what has the intelligence community been doing with this data ever since? But man, when we look at the modern landscape, the theories get wildly complex. Krause details how modern whistleblowers and even sitting members of Congress are putting forward some incredibly fringe ideas. We are way past little green men from Mars here. We're talking about crafts emerging from underwater bases, interdimensional travel using plasma barriers. Some lawmakers are even suggesting these entities are spiritual or demonic. There are even reports of ancient, dense, floating metal spheres they call the bugosphere. It is an absolute maze of baffling claims.
Which naturally brings us to Section 4, the energy industry threat, the true cost of secrecy. If even a fraction of this is true, what is the ultimate motive for such an elaborate, multi-generational cover-up? To find that motive, Heckel Lively says we just need to look at the physics. Take that 2003 Tic Tac incident witnessed by Commander David Fravor. You have a craft hovering at 80,000 feet, and then it drops to just above the ocean's surface in literally 1 to 2 seconds. That maneuver is a sheer mechanical impossibility under our current understanding of human engineering. And here is where the math gets absolutely mind-blowing. Heckel Lively notes that the sheer power required to execute that single 1 to 2 second drop, it would exceed the entire yearly energy output of the United States. Let that sink in for a second. The tech required to pull that off isn't just some slightly better jet engine. It represents a completely paradigm-shattering leap in physics. Because of that, Heckel Lively argues that this whole thing, it isn't really a UFO story at all. It's a story about global power, money, and accountability. Think about it. If a shadow faction of the government has actually reverse-engineered this kind of free energy tech, bringing it to light wouldn't just change our view of the universe. It has the potential to instantly bankrupt global oil conglomerates and entirely dismantle the modern energy industry overnight. So this isn't just about what's flying around in the sky. It's about the gas in your car and the power grid running your house. Now, despite all these incredibly compelling narratives, it's absolutely crucial to maintain a healthy sliver of doubt. Even Heckel Lively admits he's an 85% believer, but he keeps that remaining 15% firmly reserved for skepticism. He acknowledges the very real possibility that this entire tapestry of whistleblowers, documents, and sightings, it could just be the biggest, most elaborate false narrative ever spun by intelligence agencies as a massive distraction. So ultimately, whether we're looking at an incredibly messy political party autopsy or highly classified military leaks, the core question is exactly the same. Are we finally standing on the verge of the real truth, or are we just absorbing the exact narrative they want us to see? Keep questioning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.